clear blue skies, mighty mountains, and a green valley. Yasin has to be one of the most beautiful places in the mountains. And for the history geeks out there, this valley is home to a hilltop castle that was once considered unconquerable. So let's dive into the Yasin Valley. Hi, my name's Tim. I love traveling and I've been to more than 50 countries. But there's something about Pakistan that keeps bringing me back. Join me along this ride for the Pakistan Traveller series, where I share my favourite places, food and culture from the country that I love the most. After changing 2 buses and journeying through the Puniyal Valley from Ishkoman, we finally arrived in the Yasin Valley and the Fort Hotel Yasin. It was comfortable, right at the entrance to the village of Yasin. In its lobby and restaurant, the Fort Hotel is decorated with artifacts from the region and photos from the host family's history. Polo, traditional crafts, it's a real cultural experience. Okay, we're here in Yasin Khas, the main village in Yasin Valley, with my friend Jahangir. Hello. And we are having a great time staying at your uncle's hotel, the Fort Hotel, so highly recommend. Thank you very much. And we're about to head off to Madori Fort. Yeah, so I think let's head and we'll learn a little bit about the history on the way.
It's in Sandhi and we'll talk about it later.
Awesome.
We are there.
Awesome. Jahangir so generously led us around the valley and out to Sandhi, another village on the other side of the valley, and home to the Madori Fort, the most important historical site in Yasin. The fort also affords spectacular views across the valley, but you only get to see that if you climb up to the fort, and that requires a scramble up the rocky ramparts. History aside, this place has possibly the most amazing view of the Yasin Valley. Madori Fort was once known as the unconquerable fort of the Yasin Valley, but it was once conquered. Just how did those invading forces get inside? Well, here to explain is my friend Jahangir, who I'm traveling with, and he actually has a very long family history in the region and can explain to us just how this impenetrable fort was in fact conquered. How did they actually conquer the fort?
Actually, when the Dogra forces came here near the fort and they sieged the fort for almost 20 to 25 days, then the negotiation period started between the Dogra groups and the people living in Maduri, the ancestors of Goharman the Great. And when the group went for negotiations, they I don't know how they managed. They asked them.
So Jahangir, as you might have guessed, had to actually just go down the bottom to take care of his daughter. So instead, we also have up here our friend Javed, and he is going to tell us a little bit more about the fort.
Okay, so we have been told that this was the whole the main area over here. This was the top, and one side is over there. That was the other side of the top area, and this was the main area where the emperor and the main all the people,
the royal
who
family,
are in charge.
Yeah,
we're here, and the other the people we are on the other side.
so basically the village is down that side.
Yeah, the village was down this side.
Invaders coming up this way.
They were still inside the first wall. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So this was the whole area, and even we have been told that at that time this has been destroyed. The whole,
So they got right inside the fort.
Yeah, exactly. In the midnight, they came inside the fort. They just after killing everyone, after the huge massacre over here, they burned the female and children alive.
My God.
Exactly, and they were throwing the children up, and they were holding their swords below
and catching the children on the points of the sword. Oh my God.
And that happened, the huge massacre over here, and then they a lot of people, they make them prisoner and they took them to Kashmir.
That's horrific.
And the emperor, he just escaped from their route. They escaped route, and
emperor got away up that way.
Yeah, got away. And that was the part of
how things work.
It has been part of the history.
After some pictures out on the edge of the fortress, we scrambled, or slid, back down to the car park. There's so much living history here in Yasin. In fact, Javed mentioned that he once lived in one of the houses which was handed down from the royal family. Back in Yasin Khas, Jahangir took us on a walk around the village, and especially the older part of the village. We saw one of Yasin's older mosques, and again, like we saw in Shigar, it's filled with all of that carved wooden architecture, Kashmiri, Tibetan, and Islamic styles all blended into one. All of this is in the area which was once royal land, owned by the local prince and his family, and it shows the views are gorgeous, the gardens are verdant, and the buildings divine. Further along towards the Yasin polo ground, Jahangir took us through the royal orchard. Apples, apricots, pears, peaches, plums, and pomegranates. Trees heavily laden with fruits, and others like cherries that were out of season, but they exist. It was like being in utopia. You know when you see those paintings of heaven, where fruit is so abundant that it's spilling out of baskets? It was just like that. Of course we had to try some, and they tasted just as good as they looked. I wish I could send you some of their fragrant aroma and delicious taste through the screen. It was out of this world. And finally, the Yasin Polo Ground, and then to the banks of the Yasin River. I've never been to Canada, but I've seen documentaries and pictures from the Rocky Mountains wilderness, and this is kind of what I imagine it would be like. And away from the river, the forests. Poplar trees make it really feel like the woods, as it were. This pond is fed by a crystal clear natural spring which flows through here and eventually into the river. It's not a hot spring, and we were here at the start of September, the start of autumn, so it was super peaceful, serene, and okay, it was freezing. And yep, I got in, and well, it was an experience, and I survived, but damn, it was cold. Next up, it was time to go back to Jahangir's house, where we met his father, Jahanzeb, who is in fact a local member of parliament. We sat together and discussed the history and politics of the Yasin Valley, and he had some very, very interesting stories to tell. It was such an honor to meet Raja Jahanzeb, such a respectable and honorable member of the Yasin Valley, and to know about his family's lineage and history here. Simply astounding. As we ended our discussion, dinner arrived and yum. We were absolutely drooling as we were served daudo, a traditional noodle soup from the Yasin Valley. It's also native to Hunza and Ishkoman valleys, and it's so interesting to see the cross-pollination or perhaps simple spread of cultures and cuisines across the mountain ranges here. The next morning before our departure, we were served breakfast, and a traditional breakfast from the Yasin Valley. Tea with some home-churned butter and local honey, served with fresh bread. The bread they make in the Yasin Valley is quite hard, but heavy and filling. It's perfect for the chilly environs. Sadly, but inevitably, all good things must come to an end, it was time to leave. The Yasin Valley was one of the most serene places I had ever been to, but beyond that, so rich in culture and tradition, and so much of it so accessible, especially with the generous guidance from Jahangir and his family and friends. I'll never be able to repay them for the kind hospitality that they showed us. Thank you so much.
This is what traveling in Pakistan is like, especially if you know the right places, what to do there, and how to get there. And that's exactly what my book, Pakistan Traveler, is all about. It's got everything from famous attractions, transport and hotels, right through to historical insights, cultural tips, and insider advice. You can get your copy by clicking the link in the video description below. And there's so much more to discover. Check out some of my other vlogs. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be part of my dunya.